Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Peace, King. How you doing? How you doing, black man? How you doing?
Good, good. Welcome to another episode of the Fresh Blerd Air podcast. I am your host, Black Thanos, and I am joined by the one and only, is it Monteasy?
Yes, sir. You said it right.
Oh, I got, I was trying to wrap my brain around, how to, pronounce it and everything. I want to make sure I got it right the first time.
It is all good, legend. I appreciate you having me, brother. Thank you.
Thank you for coming through.
Amen, man. Thank you for the time, man. I'm looking forward to this, brother. I thank you for one, the great business, and two, doing research on the show, man. I see what you're doing, man, with your platform, and I definitely salute you, brother, on the coming into the broadcast world, brother. This is a very, very busy game that we have here with content creation, but you know what? It's all for the strong. So I appreciate it.
Oh, of course, no problem. Because I had actually did this, like it's been about 2 years. I had took a 3 year hiatus because I was just doing the whole podcast thing, and I was trying to figure out how to, put it all together, like doing video and the podcast, and then, somebody turned me on to StreamYard that records video and audio, so it gives me the best of both worlds, and I don't have to buy the whole, the I guess the microphones and all that other stuff.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely, man. You doing it this way is actually a good way to connect with the fans as well. So you're able to to build and build your rapport that way. So welcome back, brother, and thank you again for having me on.
Thank you for coming through. So I know I came across your music and everything because I'm a uh, wrestling fan of I've been wrestling fan for as long as I can remember, and I've been a fan of Sammy Guevara ever since he came out and everything, and since he first started. And then I did research into because I do a lot of research on entrance music and everything and how it's done and the artists that do it. And then I had came across your stuff, and I said, "Oh, let me dive into it more." And I see you've done a lot of other things too.
Absolutely, man. I've been making theme songs since 2014, so I'm 9 years in. Hip hop theme songs since 2014, 9 years in. I've made music for every single wrestling promotion that you can name, from WWE down to majority, a lot of the major independents, minor independents all over the world. AEW, obviously, as you know, Defy Wrestling, Reality of Wrestling. I mean, you name it, man. I've done it all over the United States and overseas too for New Japan. Everything, man. I just made the one for Kevin Knight that's in New Japan right now. So
Hmm.
it's a lot of great music that I've done over the years, man. I'm at about doing countdown. I'm at like 312 right now, 312. So I have an extensive catalog of things that I've done over the years. Obviously, Sammy Guevara is my big ticket, one of my big ticketed ones that I've made. So I'm blessed, man, to that he hit me up to make the record and to be able to extend my career after being here so long. So I'm just happy to be here. I just dropped a music video with him, as you see, called Energy. Me and him just did me, him, and Tay Guevara. Congratulations, you guys, once again on the baby announcement. We just shot a music video for a song called Energy I made about him. So yeah, man, I'm still at it.
When you got started this, you said nine. You've been here 9 years, right?
Yes, sir. Starting in 2014, February 2014.
What brought you to the dance? What was what was that passion that made you like I want to do wrestling entrance themes?
Well, it really started with a random idea. 2014, I randomly made a song about Roman Reigns just randomly on the internet. I just put it out there. I had no plans. I had no idea. I was inspired with him being in the Shield. Actually, this is right before he might have went solo. I think this is around the time that Seth turned on him. So it might have been around that time.
Hmm.
But yeah, man, I randomly put the song out and it went viral. Like 2014, it went viral all over social media. And it was just a regular hip hop song. It has over 1.5 million streams on all platforms now. So, I randomly put the record out and then something told me to just try to keep going.
Hmm.
So I didn't want to do it the regular way of kind of just, I said, I'm gonna start that from the ground up. I'm gonna start from the lower territories and work my way up instead of just trying to shoot at the highest and
Hmm.
then come down. It would serve me a better purpose to start on the ground level with the guys on the come up, because it'll serve me when I build these relationships later to
Right.
be able to start from the ground up. So that's what I did. I just started in Maryland, started at a promotion called MCW, which is my home promotion that I saw that gave me my first shot
Hmm.
in 2015. I went up there. I did entrance song for my man Drolix, who introduced me to the wrestling business. Shout out to Drolix. Thank you, Big Bro, for putting me on. And I've been doing it ever since. I said, you know what, I'm gonna make a song for everybody and their mother. I don't care who it is. If you want a song, a hip hop song, hit me up. And I've been doing that ever since for these past 9 years. I started from the bottom and worked my way up, build relationships. And my catalog has been extensive because I said I need to work and make relationships with people in order for me to really get where I need to go. So I'm going to do this the right way. I'm going to start at the grassroots because
Hmm.
I noticed that everybody a lot of times was just shooting for the WWE.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a great thing, but you need to start grassroots wise. I said I'm going to do the grassroots. It's going to take me longer to make it, but when I do, I'm going to be solidified because I did it the right way. I didn't. I always hear that when you're at the bottom, you never want to be too treat like you never want to get to the top and then forget about the people at the middle level or coming up.
Right.
So I said, I wanted to start from the grassroots and work my way up. And then when I get there, I want to make sure I give back. I'm able to help out other artists, but also too wrestling fans, wrestlers, whoever, whatever level they're at. I'm still going to work with them. I'm still going to be here. So that was my whole strategy from the beginning.
I see that you. I think it said you're a co-host of the Swerve City podcast.
Yes, me and my brother Swerve Strickland, AEW wrestler, we've been podcasting for 6 years now. We've actually been best friends and podcasting on the Swerve City podcast. We just had Christian Cage on our show. Our episode just dropped Monday, youtube.com/Swerve City podcast. You guys can check out that episode. We've had everybody, the who's who on there, man. We've had Bailey to Street Profits to every Drew McIntyre, Tony Khan himself, Donnell Jones, R&B legend, Music Soul Child, NBA legend Michael Cooper, rapper John Connor, Charlotte Flair, you name it. We've had everybody on our podcast.
How did you two end up linking up?
Well, Swerve's been my brother, excuse me, since 2015. We met actually that same promotion, that same show I told you about in Maryland, or that I did that show for my man Drolix. Swerve was on that card. He was in the match, same match as Drolix. So, he we linked up at that show. Then we started podcasting together in 2017. I did an interview with him, kind of like we're doing right now. I don't think I did it in person. I paid him for the interview. He came through, sat down, did the interview, and he really liked my energy and how I did it. So he invited me to do a podcast together. We didn't know each other very well at all at that time. I mean, we've known each other through business for 2 years, but he invited me for an opportunity. I took it,
Hmm.
and we've been podcasting ever since. And then through that, we've grown to be brothers, best friends since, you know what I mean? And really take this time to really build this and do this for the past, 6 years. It's been amazing. We've done hundreds of episodes together. We've traveled the world. We've been to Seattle. We've been to Virginia. We've been to Maryland. We've been to Georgia. We've been everywhere with the California. We've been everywhere with the podcast. So we're 6 years strong, and we're still rolling in.
Have you had any growing pains or anything? Getting started with music and like in the podcast. Have you hit like any roadblocks that may have, I guess, somewhat stopped you a little bit, but you said, no, I'm not going to get off this train. I'm gonna just keep going.
Yes, honestly, man, I'm gonna be 100% truthful with you, brother. The entertainment business is one of the truthfully one of the toughest businesses to make it in. And obviously, as you know, as someone who does media itself, it's a very, very cold game. It's a very cold blooded game. And a lot of times you can meet, people that aren't meant for you in this industry. People want to take from you in this industry. And the thing people try to hold is information.
Hmm.
So nobody really wants to give you information because a lot of people don't want to see you doing better than them. Like the great Ric Flair said, people want to see you do well, but not better than them.
Hmm.
And Ric Flair is very true with that. In this industry, you meet a lot of people that don't want you to do better than them or put people in position to do better than them. You know what I mean? To make their dreams come true because they feel like their spot's going to be taken. Or you deal
Right.
with things in the industry where, you put a lot behind one song or one podcast, you think that's going to be it. But the thing that people don't understand about this industry is that you got to keep going. When you make a game winning shot, it's like basketball. You make a game winning shot, you celebrate for that period of time, and then it's just the next game after that. You know what I mean? You celebrate,
Hmm.
you make the game winning shot, you celebrate with your teammates, you live in that moment, you relish it. But then Monday comes, and then you have to work on the next thing. And that's the thing about this industry is you can't bank on one thing. You have to be able to have many tricks of the trade in your book in order to be successful. I've had growing pains of no money. I've had growing pains of being shunned out, being forgotten, but I never stopped working. You know what I mean? I,
Right.
I always kept pushing. I always kept putting in the work, even when it wasn't, you know, as beneficial for me or I had to put somebody else in position to win. I always try to do the right thing by people because you never know how this is going to turn out. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
you have to treat people the right way. You know what I mean? You have to treat people right in this game. So, those are some of my growing pains, man, truthfully. And podcasting, man, is just getting people to, it's putting out content and getting people to care about what you have going on. Because at the end of the day in this industry, it's getting people to care. You know what I mean? And
Right.
that's the thing that sometimes takes a while to figure out is getting people to care, getting people to care about what you're doing. And sometimes it's just putting feelers out there to see how people are going to react to what you're doing. Sometimes you got to put out different things, streams of content. You know what I mean? Like you doing your podcast, you might have a segment or something that you do that catches on. You don't know. You can't predict in this entertainment game how the people are going to respond because there's so many people competing for attention, competing for slots in this. So you just got to find your fan base, your target audience, and keep going.
Because that was like a big thing, because I initially started, doing my podcast because, when COVID happened and I was just in the house and I had nothing to do. So I just saw other people doing podcasts. I said, let me go ahead and, try my hand at it. And I'm not really doing too much. I'm in the house. And then once it, got off the ground, I was enjoying it. But then once you start enjoying it, sometimes it get away from you and it doesn't become fun anymore. And then I had to, step away. And it took me a while to get back to where I'm at, to be, comfortable of, because I want to do it my way, do it the way that, I envision it and not just having the same people, talking about like we had different topics, but it's the same people, and it's just not, it's not looking good when it's the same people just showing up. I like to, a variety of having, different opinions, different people talking, not just the same people, coming through.
Absolutely, man. I think, man, as long as you're consistent, you already beat 70% of the competition. Then the other 30% is what you're willing to know, how you're willing is what you're willing to know, what you're willing to do, and how you're going to go about doing it. And I think that's the other 30%. But the other 70 is just being consistent. It's tapping into that algorithm of what you do and finding a way. I think a lot of things a lot of people lack with too is marketing and figuring out how to market what you do to get people involved in what you do.
Hmm.
And that's the thing, man. It's figuring out what is it that you like to do that is in the basis of what you're feeling. You know what I mean? We all are, I believe, as men, we're all lions. And I always talk about this and go into the jungle that we all have our own territory as men. We all have our own pride and things like that. But truthfully, the most successful people are the ones that come together. And if 10 people can put their ego to the side to come with a vision. Don't mean we always have to agree. Don't mean we always have to like each other. But as long as we are with the same goal and vision,
Right.
you can get to your dreams 10 times faster than trying to do everything just because it's the way that it should be done within that mindset of what somebody is feeling. And I think that consistency, man, is a true thing. A lot of people stop because it's the same reason as when a rock band or a rapper. I just posted this clip on my Instagram and Twitter at Teasy Jones. It's like being that band when it's just like 20 fans at the beginning, and then eventually it grows to 100 fans, then 500 fans, and then after that, you kind of can lose touch with the people because people don't really respect consistency while you're doing it. But if you stop, or some major thing happens, then everybody wants to give you your flowers. But when you're in the middle of the legacy, it's going to be hard to get your flowers during your legacy while you're doing it, because people don't really relate to consistency too much. So my advice, you know what I mean, is just, man, keep pushing, bro. Don't stop doing this. Don't stop. There's going to be times when it's not going to be fun. There's times I make music and I'm not necessarily feeling it. Sometimes it does become a job sometimes, but you got to do it because you love it, man. If this is all you have, and this is what, maybe not all you have, but something in your spirit that you're passionate about and you love to do it, man, don't stop doing it, bro. Don't stop creating content. I don't care if one person sees it or 300 or 3,000, 3 million, bro. If you love this podcast and this is what you love to do, don't stop, man. Consistency you already beat half the competition by being consistent. The rest is just semantics and figuring out how you're going to do it.
Like when I originally wanted to figure out, because my main thing was trying to figure out, what am I talking about? Even though, like, I'm a wrestling fan, but
Right.
I don't want to always talk about wrestling because there's a lot of podcasts already talking about wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is, I want to talk about wrestling, sports, relationships, music, uh, movies, whatever. I don't want it just to be, something for everybody. Because you can, see my podcast and be like, oh, I don't like wrestling. Oh, he's talking about sports. Let me go ahead and click on that and see what he's talking about with sports. So it's,
Absolutely.
It's something for everybody.
Absolutely, man. And I think with you doing that diversifies your audience. And I notice there's a lot of wrestling podcasts out here that are saying the same exact thing all the time, talking about the same thing. And wrestling's a very niche audience. You know what I mean? It's a very niche audience. And there's nothing wrong with that because you can make a good living off that fan base. But it's a whole world out here. And there's a whole lot of different people that, when wrestling isn't on Tuesdays, it is on Tuesdays, but like Thursdays or whatever days wrestling isn't on, they got a whole life to live and they have other things going on. So you can be able to make that content for those people that, that are music fans, that are fans of movies, animation, whatever. You know what I mean? So I think you're on the right path doing that.
What would you say, your upbringing, like what was, I guess, let me say, your musical inspiration?
Wow. So I'm going to answer it this way. Do you want to say like my inspiration to make music or just in general?
Let's say to make music.
Okay. There was 5 people that I listened to when I first started writing rhymes. And this was 2004, 2005, sophomore and junior in high school. I don't, once again, guys, I am not allocating or supporting pirated music, but at this time, this is what we did. We had CDs,
Yeah.
we had LimeWire, we had Kazaa, we had Aries.
Yep.
And we would, for you young kids out there, it'd be the hard drive computer. You put the CD in and burn a disk on Windows Media, And at the time, man, I was downloading every 50 Cent mixtape, Talib Kweli, Lloyd Banks, Eric Sermon. Those were the four people. The first rap album I ever owned was Juvenile, 400 Degrees. That was my first favorite rapper growing up was Juvenile. Him and 50 Cent were my first two favorite rappers, and Nas. So those three guys. Nas is my favorite rapper of all time. So I was inspired by Nas. I was inspired by 50 Cent. I was inspired by Lloyd Banks, Eric Sermon, and Talib Kweli. And those were the guys that helped develop my style. So, I always used to, for once again, for you guys that rappers that always type it in your phone, I still got my composition notebook of my raps when I was in high school. It's still here and stored somewhere, but of my trash lyrics I had back in the day. Everything was astronomical, pathological, and I was one of them guys. If it wasn't like an 8-letter word, I wasn't saying it. I was one of them dudes. But it's how I started writing, and I developed my style that way by just listening to music. My grandmother always had me on Gap Band and Ray Charles and Bobby Womack, and my grandmother always played the soul side of music. My mom was in the Red Hot Chili Peppers and early 90s rap. Mary J. Blige, she was into Darius Matthews Band, and then I was always into like the Metallicas of the world. So my diverse music. So if you hear like the Energy song on the Different Sammy, it's like a hard rock record with me rapping. I'm just always been inspired by the hard rock and hard rap. You know what I mean? The WWF Forcible Entry CDs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? The attitude, the anthology album where they had the 3 discs on there from the eras. Forcible Entry, the Ruthless Aggression time, the man, what a time. The rap album, the aggression rap album WWE made back in the day. So all that really catered to my style and actually helped me become the artist that I am now by putting all those styles together and formulating that. So that was my musical influences growing up. I went to a lot of concerts. I went to 50 Cent concerts. I went to see Talib Kweli. I went to see all those guys, pardon me. I went to see all those guys. So I was able to develop my style that way, and it helped build me to be the artist I am today. So
how did your family, how did they help you, get to where you're at and everything, and the support and everything, from your family to help you?
Great question, man. I don't get asked this much, man. I appreciate this question. It's one, I can tell you did the research, or two, it really means a lot that you just asked this, because I don't get asked this a lot. If it wasn't for my grandmother, I wouldn't be here. My grandmother and my granddad were the two people. My granddad literally was the one that told me I could do it. He bought me my first guitar. He introduced me to, one day, I was at a pizza shop with my granddad, and Flavor Flav walks in. And he's like, I'm going to introduce you to him. And at the time, I'm like 15. I'm nervous. I'm shy. I'm like, I don't know. But I'm not starstruck. You know what I mean? But the lesson he taught me, because he went over there and said, hey, this is my grandson. My grandson raps. He makes music. And even though Flavor Flav was cool about it and shook my hand and said, what's up? And he just went about his day. It taught me not to be afraid to approach people.
Right.
You know what I mean? It doesn't matter who anybody is. The only way you're going to get on is by selling yourself and being able. That's the lesson that taught me. It taught me that valuable lesson about communicating with people and learning not to be afraid of people. My grandmother, that Roman Reigns song I told you about, at the time I had my son, so I had my first child. So, a lot of my finances were going towards him. She gave me the money to go to the studio to do it because I didn't have the money. She said, I believe in you. Go record the song. And she has supported me throughout this whole journey. We go to WrestleManias together. We travel. We go to AEW shows. We travel the world. Me and her have gone to maybe like 5, 6 WrestleManias together. My grandmother. and she has been my biggest support system in this. You know what I mean? My mom is always sending me motivational things, and she's always supporting motivational speaking stuff. She's always supporting my music and everything that I've done. My sister, my younger brother, my all my kids, you know what I mean, and other family members who have definitely supported. But my grandmother, I can't tell you how much my grandmother and my granddad and my mom has done for me. My grandmother is literally the reason why I'm here doing this, and and my granddad. So them two really, really sacrificed. My grandmother has done so much for me. So definitely sacrificed to make sure that I've gotten to this position right here.
I think I saw something on you worked with Josiah Williams.
Yes, me and Josiah have done maybe 6 songs together, 5 songs together now. 5 or 6 songs. We've done a lot of music. You know what I mean? We did I Won't Stop, which is his song featuring me and Swerve. We've done a song called Let Him Know, which is a Josiah song he featured me and Mega Ran on. I got an unreleased song with him called uh, On High, a religious record with me and him. There's a song called Greatest Ever Remix with me, him, Swerve, Sky Zoo, and Mega Ran. So we've done a lot of work together. We performed live together at the AEW showcase last year at the Revolution showcase at their first live show they did. Me and him were the two artists that performed. So it was me, him, and Mikey Ruckus. We shared the stage together. So that's my bro, man. I think everybody always asks, like, in our respective fields, who each person is in, like, wrestling related, right? I call myself like the Triple H or the Sting. You know what I mean? Kind of like where my lane is and what I've done, like the kind of like the outcast, but like another one of the top guys in wrestling theme music, but kind of like a Triple H. You know what I mean? I got my stable, I got my guys, I got Swerve who raps now. My guys and people like my group, and then I have my own thing. I believe Josiah Williams is the biggest star in wrestling music, especially hip hop, to do it. I think he's the Stone Cold. I believe he's the guy. If I had to put a dictionary and say, hey, I want to start a wrestling music company and I need a face, that's who I'm selling, is Josiah Williams. Absolutely. He's a legend. WWE, obviously WWE signed him. He's remixed some of the greatest themes I've heard. He's absolutely phenomenal. And that man does not miss. And I want to give him his salute, his respect. He's a good friend of mine. And anything that man needs from me, I got him.
If you had, to work with somebody that you haven't worked with yet and do their theme for them, who was like a dream, somebody you would like to collab with?
That I haven't done a song for. I'll give you 3. My bro Eddie Kingston. Love Eddie. I would love to do something for Eddie Kingston. That's my bro. Love Eddie Kingston. I'd like to do something for Charlotte Flair. Like, officially. I did a rap song about her, but like officially do a song, like a song she would use, definitely would be Charlotte Flair. And I would like to make something for Montez Ford, Bianca, and Angelo Dawkins as a stable, as a group. Like, if they all came out together, I would like to make that for them. If they like team up or become a stable one day, or like on screen together, stuff like that, I would definitely like to make something for them 3 together.
Out of all the interviews that you guys did for the podcast, what was the most interesting one that you guys did?
Interesting one that I've learned the most from. Interesting interview. Great question. The most interesting, I would say that I learned a lot from Roderick Strong when Roddy Strong was with NXT and he was with the Undisputed Era. I learned a lot about Roddy and his story. and I didn't know a lot about him. Out of him, Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish, I probably knew the least most about him, just on a personal level.
Hmm.
But learning who he is, he was one of my favorite guests we ever had. Just because the way he opened up, I've never seen him open up like that before, and we got a lot out of him. He's one of the top three favorite guests we've ever had, and we've had a lot, and he still today is very hard to top the connection I had with him because he was very, very open and transparent about his story, and it's amazing to see what he's gone through and what he's progressing to be even now. I can't wait to have him back on for a part two. But man, was that a great conversation we had. Still to this day, he was the most interesting. Learned a lot about him.
Do you have any like any future aspirations?
Yes, I want to get involved in more motivational speaking. I want to get involved in more like live speaking engagements, booking live, motivational speaking engagements, and um, doing like live speeches about my life and motivation and stuff like that, and helping other people. Life coaching, things like that. I definitely want to put that along with the music stuff I want to do.
Hmm.
I definitely want to bring wrestling music to a forefront, to a worldwide level, to where it isn't just seen as a niche thing. Because I try to make wrestling music to where it doesn't sound like a wrestling song. I try to make all of them universal so that you can play it on the radio, even though it's for a wrestler, you really can't tell. So my goal is to take wrestling music to become the Jay-Z of it, in the sense of taking it to a level. I want to bring wrestling music to the Grammys. I want to bring wrestling music to the award shows. That's what I want to do. I want to be that guy to help bring that niche audience to the BET awards. I want to be that dude. You know what I mean? So that's my overall goal of wrestling music, is bringing it to a higher platform. Motivational speaking, other aspirations. I definitely want to get into audiobooks. I want to do voiceovers for, cartoons and movies and things like that. I definitely want to branch out and do new things and find other ways to, build my platform. And also too, I definitely, have a goal of musically, of just collaborating with a lot of big name artists in what I do,
Hmm.
and bring the forcible entry and aggression to us, instead of us having to reach out to everybody, and bring them to our world and collaborate and bring this to a whole nother level. So those are my future aspirations right now, especially the motivational speaking thing. I definitely am going
Hmm.
to get involved in that very soon.
Like when you guys were I guess researching for different guests, like what's the like what's your like process before you decide of decide on what guests you're looking for, and what do they ultimately bring to the platform?
Well, one, they have to be interesting. They gotta. We can have anybody on the show. You can just have anybody, but it's not going to. How can they hold a conversation? Are they an interesting person? How? Because a lot of times you interview people and it's almost like pulling teeth trying to get stuff out of them.
Hmm.
But if you were able to bring on people that are very conversed, that has a story, that you're able to bring something out of, and they're good, and they're people, they're good interview people, that really makes the best conversations. We can't just have anybody on there. I just don't have anybody on my podcast or the one with me and Swerve or anything. I really don't just have anybody on there. Like, I've shot my whole season of Teasys Table coming up, and I just have it stored because I'm not just going to put anything out there. I'm going to have it. It's all going to be timed the right way, and it's all going to be people that I want to talk to and have conversations with. I believe that a lot of times we just have conversations and they just don't. You know what I mean? They just don't go anywhere. You know what I mean? And a lot of times I want to avoid that. So I want to bring people on that really show, good conversations. They have great talking points. They bring something to the conversation rather than just being a big name. Because rather than that, I won't even interview.
Right. Because like that's the main like that's the main thing that what I've been looking for, what I've been trying to do. Um, because with I spoke to somebody and they had told me, um, yeah, I'll be a guest, but I want you need to get more followers and everything before you talk to me. And
Mm.
then I was like, okay, that's I've never run it. I never ran into that before. I was like, okay, I understand. That's understandable, because you're a big name. You got a big following, and I'm just the lonely guy on the totem pole. And you want to get more bang for your buck, and not just I'm not doing this for my health. I want to put myself out there, but that's understandable. So what I had when I started, the first people I got, I just I reached out to people that I knew and people that have actually a profession. Like the first person I talked to, she's a photographer. Second person I talked to, he's a wrestler. And another friend of mine, he's a composer and he plays piano on YouTube. So try to get people who have something they can bring to the table if they have a profession, or depending on what type of the topic that I'm looking for, to get people interested.
I think that's the best way you go on about it. I think that that diverse portfolio and platform is definitely going to be of service to you, and doing it that way instead of just trying to reach. Certain people are protective of their brands and they won't hop on certain things, and I can understand. But at the same time, it's also to building your platform so that everything makes sense to everybody. Because one day your platform is going to be big, and then at one point people are going to ask to come on, or you're going to be like, you know what, this. Not saying you don't want to give back, but you know what I mean. It's like, okay, not right now. When you put a sense of, you know what I mean. Let it make sense. You know what I mean. Let it
Hmm.
make sense in the sense of not only for the brand, but we're all in this to help each other out, and also too to get something out of it for our brands and our platforms. So it has to make sense. So I understand what that person said. I get it, and it's also too for you. Just keep building your platform, man. The different guests that you have on is definitely going to help your diverse platform in the long run as it grows, because the one advantage that you have is that people tune in because they don't know what they're going to get every week or day or whatever you upload it. That gives people an opportunity to say, oh, I can learn something about this person or that person. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And that's the best way to do it. I think that is a great way to run your platform, because they don't know what's coming next, which is a good thing.
All right, I wanted to wrap it up, but I have five, just five random questions at
Sure.
the end. First question is, uh, what is one person you trade places with for a day?
Not a soul. I like being me.
Yeah,
Not
good answer.
not one person. I don't know what problems anybody else has. They can have all the money in the world and have least problems that I have, or they can have least problems that I have and more money or more issues, or a lovely wife, or a I love my children, I love my family, I love my life. I'm not trading it for nobody. I'm cool.
Good, good. What's your guilty pleasure?
I like watching chiropractic videos. I love chiropractic videos. I don't know why, dude. I think it's the cracking. I don't know. I love watching that. I like watching videos of people that live out of their car,
Hmm.
like bands and stuff. I love that. I like watching to go to sleep. I watch this guy called Haircut Harry, and all he does is travel around the world and gets his hair cut by different master barbers, which is really dope. Well, not older white dude. He just gets his hair cut in different places. He lets his hair grow out for a month, and then he'll go somewhere and just get his hair cut by a professional. And it gets millions of views, and I just watch it to go to sleep. It's very great. And then I also too I watch documentaries on rock bands. I like watching documentaries on rock bands I don't know anything about. Like I don't know who the Louisville somersaults are, but I want to learn about them. Like
Hmm.
how, why did they break up? Why did they not break up? Are they still together? How many albums did they put out? Or I like to learn about Black Sabbath and all these rock bands that I grew up on a particular hip hop side. Even though I knew Red Hot Chili Peppers, Dave Matthews Band, Metallica, but I don't know anything about Nine Inch Nails and all these other groups, so I want to learn about them. So those are my guilty pleasures, but especially those chiropractic videos. I probably watch like one a night.
That's cool. What's the best compliment that you've ever gotten?
That I'm a good person, and I can live with that. As long as I know I have a good heart and I'm a good person, and I try to do right by people and be a man of my word to the best that I can be. That's all I could take, man. Because at the end of the day, when God calls you home and all you are is a memory, all I think about all the time, whenever I'm tempted or ever been tempted to do something not the right way or anything in life, I just always remember that when you're gone, the only thing you have is what people say about you. And, people that speak at your funeral or people that speak about you when you're not around, or they can't say that I'm not a good person and that I wouldn't give my shirt off my back for them. So if you do me wrong in any sense, then that's really on you, because I come with great love and energy for everybody, man. I don't want anything bad for anybody. I give back. I'm a team player. You know what I mean? I put my ego and pride to the side to help anyone. So as long as they say I'm a good person and that I treat them well, I'll be my own fan.
What never fails to make you laugh?
Great question. What never fails? What's something that is going to make me laugh? Okay. Well, I got to ask you this question. Where are you from?
Oh, Merlin.
Okay. So shout out to the DMV area. What part?
Hyattsville.
Okay. How far is that from Joppa? I'm answer your question. How far is that from Joppa?
Ooh, probably like an hour or two.
Oh, okay. Got you. That's where MCW in Maryland is. That's how I'll ask you that. So you know how New Yorkers always say pause after saying something like suspect in their mind or something that sounds weird?
Yeah.
I'll watch like YouTube videos or like people saying the most crazy stuff that they say, and then people like pause or like people react because they say something real suspect that sounds kind of crazy. I can watch those and laugh all day because it's so childish. It really is. But it just makes me laugh. I was watching a podcast called Restore Order, and these guys are from Harlem, New York, and the guys will say something real crazy, and then they'll be like, pause, and they'll stop the whole flow of conversation and be like, yo, that was crazy. I swear, that makes me laugh every day. Even if I'm having a terrible day, I'll watch that. Or even Cameron and Mace's new podcast.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those.
And the way that they pause each other, and like the way they just had Brandon Marshall on there, and they're pausing him after everything he was saying. That never makes me fail to laugh. I can watch those highlights and laugh all night. I can. Because it's so childish.
What is the worst piece of advice that you have gotten in your life?
The worst piece of advice I've gotten in my life. Let me think for a second here. Is that the fans owe you something. The fans don't owe you anything in this. They don't. Supporters and your supporters and your fans, don't be in touch with your fans. Don't engage with your audience. You gotta be like Michael Jackson. You gotta be like Prince, make an album and then disappear. Like, not many people get to do that. Engage with your audience, engage with your people. Oh man, you're responding to too many people on, man. I will say thank you to everybody. You know how many rappers are out here trying to make it?
A lot.
You know how many rappers? Spotify, from what I heard, uploads to 150,000 songs a day on their platform. To have one person tell you they like your record that you do not know, or even if you know them, is a blessing. The fact that you found me through music and reached out to me to do this is a blessing. So I thank you. That means you found something of interest and you reached out and you wanted to take the time to talk to me on your platform because you like the music and you like what I was doing. And I appreciate that. And that's the thing. That's the worst piece of advice I have. Is like, nah, man, the fans owe you. The fans don't owe you anything. You better appreciate these people while they still support you, while they still care, while they still ask about you, while they still, man, you better show love to these people because attention, retaining attention to keep people caring about what you do is very tough in this game where everybody has ADHD with their phones and scrolling to one thing. I have find it hard myself sometimes. I'll listen to one podcast, I'll scroll to something else for no reason. Like it's crazy. So, you know, that's the worst piece of advice I've gotten, man. Appreciate every fan. Communicate with your fan base. Don't act holier than thou with people. Nowadays, people got to have a reason to support you. It's not like 2003 or Michael Jackson dropped an album and because his music was great. Nowadays, Michael Jackson, I'm sure, might needed to have an Instagram, do more interviews. There was a different time back then. So now he'd probably have to be more available to his fans. So, you know, that's the worst piece of advice I got, man. I totally disagree with that.
That's good. Good talking. I really appreciate you coming on. You have anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
Yes. First thing I want to say is, follow me at Teasy Jones on all social media platforms at Teasy Jones. Make sure you guys go to youtube.com/swervecity podcast for my brother, me and Swerve's podcast, my music videos, his music videos. My bro Swerve dropped his project You Couldn't Be Me on all platforms. I just dropped my new record for Sammy Guevara called Energy right now. The music video's out on all platforms. Make sure you guys keep streaming that. Make sure you guys follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/Monteasy more. Hit me up. I'm always accessible. There's no problems hitting me up as long as you ain't sending me nothing crazy. You know how this world is. Definitely you guys on all social media, on all streaming platforms, Monteasy for all music. Make sure you book Monteasy bookings at gmail.com to book me for all motivational speaking engagements, all life engagements, life coaching engagements I'm going to be starting up. Make sure you guys show love. Make sure you guys, all you guys too, man. Cash at Monteasy, man. Show some love, man. Donations, bro. Brother out here trying to eat, man. So I'm just trying to, show love to everybody. And to you, brother, keep doing your thing with your platform. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. You asked some questions I don't get asked a lot. And great research. Keep doing your thing. Do not stop, bro. If you need to email me for some motivation sometimes, I'll send you some motivational clips if you need it. But don't stop doing this. You got something going here. I respect what you're doing. You're a wrestling fan that's trying to be diverse with his platform. And that's very, very important. Don't stop, bro. I don't care how tired it is, even if you can't get a guest for that week or whoever, bro. Don't stop doing it. Because you love it is what what your purpose is, and once you start doing your purpose, the universe is going to do everything to bring you back to it, even if you try to reject it. So keep doing this, bro.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Anytime, man. Peace, man, and keep in touch, brother. You got my email.
Thank you. That's been another episode of the Flesh Blerd Air podcast. Thank you and good night.